One of the policy resolutions from the ANC's recent 55th National Conference was to scrap permit fees for informal traders. And this move to cut the red tape and reduce the financial burden on informal traders is aimed at supporting economic growth among small, medium and micro enterprises. In making that announcement, the party's Mamoloko Kubayi reflected that women selling produce on the street would usually have their stock taken by Metro Police and thrown out, and described it as inhumane. So what do the sentiments expressed mean for informal traders, especially women? And what is needed to effect the necessary legal provisions to make this a reality? Rosheda Muller is the president of the South African Informal Economy Development Forum and joins Full View now. Good evening, Rosheda, and thank you very much for your time. What was your reaction on hearing about this?
Well, I was elated, most definitely. Elated that once again the informal economy gets a recognition from our honourable president. However, we have to ensure that implementation of what he is announcing will take place. Unless it is going to be legislated, it's just another talk, another statement by our dearest president. We need to understand that the informal sector is one, or probably is, the biggest self-employed movement in South Africa. With this high unemployment rate that our country is experiencing, the informal economy workers, not only the businesses, but also the workers within the informal sector, need to be protected. We are a special needs sector, and in particularly, like we've said, women, they are the majority within the informal sector. So we welcome the scratching of permits. We welcome the scratching of fees. Yeah. Yes, indeed, it is time that government realize that the sector is organized and that we need to work in partnership with government.
Rosheda, take us into the conditions under which an informal trader operates, especially a woman trader, and how you are typically treated by Metro Police.
Well, you know, if I must quote a recent incident that happened, in our city of Cape Town, as I am from Cape Town, which is very sad because we do have friendly bylaws, yes. We do have very good relationships with our LED managers. However, the law enforcement officers do not share that same empathy towards women. A 74-year-old woman recently, and I have a long document on it, her stock was confiscated as she was having an asthma attack and busy packing up. The stock is gone. And she lost over 1,000 rand that day. Now, that is really, really not a good way that law enforcement should be treating us. Women should be looked upon as the mothers, the women, the breadwinners. Most of our women on the streets in the informal trade, they are single mothers. And because most of them do not know their rights, we as the IEDF want to ensure that our voices are heard from top to down to local municipalities.
It's very sad and heartbreaking, Rosheda, to hear a story like that. And I imagine for that story, you have 100 others, perhaps even more, that mirror those horrors. Just share with our viewers how much these permits cost and how much you would be saving, adding in the money you'd spend on transport trying to acquire them.
Yeah, and I want to add to that, because it's not only the money you are going to save, but because we do not have the enabling environment of storage where there is extra costs for the women who needs to store in a place where they have to pay a rental. And in the morning, they have to, hire one of these guys that's hanging around to help them. So costs, becomes greater and greater. Certain permits range from 100 up to 600 rand a month. And it is very, very difficult for women to sustain, as there are other costs as well based on the lack of the enabling environment. So it is a welcome statement, and we would like, as the IEDF, to engage government, national government, and in particular the Minister of Small Business Development on the implementation and execution of this statement.
And I think importantly, to end as you began with that caution, Rosheda, on making sure that whatever bylaws are necessary are passed as soon as possible to really make the sentiment a practical and legal reality. Rosheda Muller is the president of the South African Informal Economic Development Forum.